an all-new episode of Hangin with the Dreamer every Monday at 12 noon. Available wherever you stream. Hey, everybody. It's your old buddy, the Dreamer. How are you? How are you? I hope everybody's happy. I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody's full of love, full of positive vibes. And I wish nothing but positive vibes for all my dreamers out there. Before I bring my guest, who is waiting so patiently in the green room, on out to discuss Temple of Stitches 4 and other various releases and things that are going on with the band's website. Happy Friday to everybody. Welcome to the show. Please sign up to be my Patreon for as little as $5 a month. You will get your name mentioned at the beginning and the end of every show. Plus, my first 20 members that sign up will be listed in my new outro video in the end credits. There's a link. Please click on that and sign up. Become a member of the Dreamers Patreon. Become a dreamer too. I'm sure you already are. And also, thank you for signing up. Plus, if you like donate through PayPal, please use the friends and family option. Thank you so very much. The link is right here. Check out Temple of Switches website. Enjoy at www.templeofswitches.com. And also check out, please, Temple of Switches on Bandcamp. And there's a link. So, speaking of Temple of Switches, before I bring my guest out, I just want to say the very first time that I heard Temple of Switches song, The Vortex, that hit me right in the heart, right in my soul, guys. You got to check out Temple of Switches. Go to YouTube, put in Temple of Switches, The Vortex. And you'll see why I was touched so deeply by it. Time will erase you. I love that verse because it's true. You know, and if we're not careful, that's going to happen. So, without further ado, I will let my guest, Tenk Van Dool, explain and share some backstories. Enough of my yabbering. Hey, everybody. You're watching Hangin with the Dreamer featuring Mr. Tenk Van Dool from Temple of Switches. Tenk, how are you today?
Hello, Will. Nice to be here.
Nice to be seen.
Thank you for that introduction.
My pleasure. I'm just calling it like I see it. You know, I love it. I've been a Zeppelin fan, a Pink Floyd fan, a Rush fan for as long as I can remember. And yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm not just the visionary creator for the Dreamer's Life. I'm not just a guitarist. I'm a music fan, and I'll tell you, good music, there's a lot of great music out right now, but just something about the music of Temple of Switches that if you like that progressive vibe, and if you could dial in to that creative progressive spirit, Temple of Switches is for anybody who wants to hear it and receive that message. So, before I ask you about the Vortex, that's my favorite one so far. It's got to be my number one video so far. That could change at any given second. But the next time I go check out the YouTube channel for Temple of Switches, I may find my new number one. But right now it's the Vortex. So, uh, well, first off, let me say thank you for giving me your time today. Time is very precious, and it's a value. It's to be valued and respected. Not only by me, but I mean, well, I'll just speak for myself. But you know, thank you for being here, Tank.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So tell me, what is the history and what is your vision behind Temple of Switches?
Well, the history goes back as far as 1978 or so, actually, with Temple of Switches, because that's I got my first electric guitar at that time and lived in a really small town in California, and ended up meeting other musicians that were the same caliber as me, which was complete beginners who knew absolutely nothing. It was buy a guitar and start a band. So it was kind of like putting the
Yeah,
horse before the cart. So we all
yeah,
learned as we went along. And I ended up meeting among all the other musicians I met, the small group of us, there was a bass player named Dale Weiser. And he and I hit it off particularly well and did a lot of writing together, starting back in like 1978. And we stuck together and wrote a whole bunch of music over like a 12-year period. So from 78 until right around 1990. And then we all kind of went our separate ways. Life and jobs got in the way, and I quit playing music completely back in 1990 for like 20 years. So fast forward to 2012, and decided to start playing again. So luckily I didn't get rid of all my equipment. So I started getting back into it, and we resurrected some of the old songs that we had written. Dale had moved on and he was playing with a different band, but we started what ended up becoming Temple of Switches and resurrected some of those old songs, mostly because we were just starting back up again, and it was kind of the only thing we had to draw from. So we re-recorded a lot of the songs that we had written at that time, and the Vortex was one of those. The Vortex was originally written for a 3-piece band, just guitar, bass, and drums, and it was an instrumental. And we ended up hooking up with a guy named Kevin McConnell, who he had known since way back in the late 70s. He was a brilliant keyboardist and singer. And when I started playing again in 2012, I thought about him and was wondering what he was doing. So ended up looking him up. He had a computer repair business, and finally hunted him down and contacted him. And he said he was willing to play too. So we kind of got this thing back together again after all these years. And he liked the Vortex, but he really wanted, since he's a singer, he wanted to do vocal parts on it. So he ended up writing lyrics for it and incorporating them into the song. One day we were at practice, and he said he thought we were going to be mad at him because he changed it and wrote the lyrics, but we all really loved it, and it ended up adding so much to the song as well as his keyboard parts, and it became what ended up was on that recording.
Well, for those out there that have never heard the Vortex by Temple of Switches and by my guest, Mr. Tenk Van Dool, I strongly recommend checking it out. I was going to play it for today's interview. I love it that much. For some reason, the YouTube algorithm's having a problem working with StreamYard today. So, what I can do is, I was thinking about it, I would like to recommend that everybody who's watching, well, first off, everybody who's watching, happy Friday. Please say hi in the chat and ask my guests a question. And please, that's what we're here for. Please ask my guests a question. Temple of Switches. You're a Zeppelin fan, you're a Rush fan, you're a Pink Floyd fan, cross Moody Blues fan, cross, gosh,
Kansas, all those
Kansas,
bands influenced all of
Kansas,
us for
oh,
sure, especially Zeppelin.
Kansas. Oh, man. If you're a fan of our type of music, please check them out. You will be doing yourself a injustice, injustice by not checking out Temple of Switches, and start with the Vortex and go from there. Trust me. By the time you're done watching every video on Temple of Switches YouTube channel, you will be as big as fan as I am.
I hope that's true.
Trust me. Trust me. But, oh man. So the vortex, what what exactly, besides what the name implies, what exactly is the vortex about, and what's the inspiration behind the lyrics for that song?
Well, I wish our keyboardist Kevin was here because he's the one that wrote the lyrics. But I think what he's drawing on just the energy inside of us and that the music conjures up. And that's he's always been a really optimistic person. And if you listen to the words, they're all driven by optimism. Now, that's the best I can explain about the lyrics.
Amazing. It's all
Yeah, it's open for interpretation. It's one of those songs I think that the listener can interpret and understand without really knowing what the lyrics actually mean necessarily.
that's how it got me. Personal interpretation, crossing my personal infatuation for all things that spiritual based and all things that the human eye can't see unless chosen to see them. And the vortex is just it. For those that don't know what a vortex is, and shout out in the chat if you know what a vortex is. Shout out in the chat and hey, haha, Nikki Kelly, curious how long the next Temple of Switches release. And hello, hi Nikki.
Hello,
Welcome.
Nikki. So good to see you.
Welcome to Hanging with the Dreamer. I am your humble host, the Dreamer.
Nikki's been a great friend of the band. And the next release is, I would say it's going to be at least a year.
At least a year.
Yeah, we did 2 releases back to back, and I'm kind of burnt out, so I'd like to take some time off. We're working on videos right now, which is pretty intensive, and have some music in the works as well, but I'm not in any hurry to get anything done right now at this point. I'm worried about getting burnt out.
Creative burnout. Yeah.
It happens.
It's real. I'm sorry, Tank. Thought others would like to know also.
That's pretty much where it sits right now. At least right now. That could change next month. You never know.
Do you find that music and Nikki, do you, before I show what else Nikki is saying, I'll show right now, Nikki. I promise. So Tank, tell me, when you're writing and when lyrics are being written and melodies and hooks are being written, you as a multi-instrumentalist, how do you approach a hook? How do you approach a melody when either you have lyrics or somebody else hands you lyrics?
Well, that's an interesting question. Usually the lyrics happen last. There's maybe a couple songs that are written around the lyrics, and they're usually the simpler, shorter songs. But for the most part, uh, the lyrics come last, and the music's written. Sometimes it's inspired by a sound, like a synthesizer patch.
Mm.
Um, there's also been a lot of difference in how the songs are written. Like in the early days, it was usually Dale, the bass player, and I sitting down, hammering stuff out, and he would come up with a lick, or I'd come up with a lick, and we'd bounce these things off each other.
Mm.
And the really special thing about Dale, who by the way passed away unfortunately this
I
past
was going to
February.
ask you about that when I pop your website up.
Yeah. The great thing about working with him was he always played something that was juxtaposed to what I would play. In the early days, everything was riff based when we wrote. It was all based around, okay, I got this guitar riff, and he would come up with something that was completely asymmetrical to it, and nothing like what I had imagined in my head. I'd play this chord progression or whatever to him and say, oh, here's kind of what I was thinking would go along with it. And he would do something completely 180 to what I was doing. But it was one of those music relationships where it worked every single time. Everything he came up with was just killer and sounded great. And it was always odd harmonics and, non-traditional, non-cliche types of things. And I really cherish those years working with him, and that's part of the reason that I've kept the songs that we did back then alive. All of our albums are sprinkled with songs that he and I wrote together in the early days. The more recent writing is more melody based. I remember when I was a kid and we first started playing, a good friend of mine's dad was like this Marine looking dude with a crop top haircut, but he loved big band music, and he had a big band record collection. And one time we played one of our songs for him, and the first thing he said was, "Where's the melody?" It was like a standard rock song that we had written, and he said, "I don't hear a melody in this." And I never understood what he meant, but I knew he was right, but I didn't know why, because I thought, well, the notes are changing, that's a melody. And it really didn't dawn on me till I started listening to jazz, the importance of melody. So the newer material is more focused on melody rather than licks. And that's kind of the direction the music's going these days, is more on melody.
Well, Nikki is so kind to be able, talking about asking you when the next Template Switches release would be. She's saying hello, good to be here. Thought others would like to know also. Yeah, please share this out, Nikki. I would love to see more people here that really want to hear engaging, deep, real conversation about music. A vortex is a sort of whirlpool that sucks in everything around it.
That's true. It's kind of funny. David White, our current drummer, he was one of the people that I was playing with back in 1989, when the whole thing came to a close. Back then, we were working heavily together, Dale and David and I. And David named 90% of our songs. He was always clever about coming up with names. So back when that song, The Vortex, was an instrumental, he came up with that term. He coined it, The Vortex, just because of the way it culminated. It had, back when it was an instrumental, it was a longer song, and we did more soloing and improvising in it. But it really came to a crescendo when we were all like going off on our instruments. And it was kind of reminiscent of a vortex. And then later on, fast forward to 2012, when Kevin joined the band and was playing keyboards and singing, he took the title and wrote the lyrics kind of around it. So he used the title as inspiration for the lyrics.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Nikki Kelly is also saying, don't hurry, make sure your next release is right. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
The market, can get oversaturated with a bunch of releases being thrown into it that were created under pressure, contract, demand. I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I've also seen how upper echelon artists are picking their spots. Now, instead of just going out for a year tour, 8-month tour, 6-month tour on a promotional run or what have you, these artists are picking their spots, and they're backing away, some of them backing away from the public eye, and just picking their spots and throwing tidbits out there. And it's like building a brand new fan base from zero, and it works. It works. And all of a sudden you hear an artist is, playing the Forum here in Los Angeles, or, headlining at the Aftershock Music Festival, which is a 3-day event. And it's like, wow, this artist is headlining, haven't heard anything from this artist in a long time. Well, that's because they're taking their time. And,
Yeah, people are hungry for nostalgia too these days, it seems like. There are so many new bands, it's overwhelming a lot of people. And one of the go-to places, it seems like, for the public or the paying public to see live bands is nostalgia. Some of these tribute bands are doing really, really well right now, just because
really
people
well.
are starving for familiar music.
Really well. Really well. And Nikki Kelly also says, I like that when there are counter melodies and such going on. Yeah, so do I, Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki's late husband, Tom Kelly, was the master of that. I know why she's saying that, because his compositions were brilliant, and they had counter melodies and multiple layers. And Tom Kelly really knew how to use sound and texture as well. It wasn't just the notes being played, but the texture of the sounds. He was brilliant at that. One of his songs comes on, it's immediately recognizable. It just like slows my heart down. As soon as I hear it, it skips a beat, because such beautiful melodies and textures in the music.
I was just watching, talking about melody and textures in music. I was just watching a band called Mono Inc., and they're from Germany. Now, I have been a Mono Inc. fan for about 5 years, 6 years. Yeah, I have their double CD Symphonic Live, double CD with the full symphony. That's heavy. And then I just rewatched their live concert this morning, getting ready for the day and thinking about what needs to get done and get ready for my interview with you. And, I meditate. I meditate 7 days a week.
Good for you. That's good.
I have to, otherwise I'd pull my hair out if I had any.
I should meditate too.
It's important. it's important, the smell of a fresh candle, some wind
Little chimes.
chimes. Yeah, some chimes. I mean, if you understand the concept, it's very liberating. Very liberating. Um, but I digress. When talking about, well, let's see. Nikki.
Back to the texture and melody thing that we were talking about a couple minutes ago. Speaking of that, yesterday was Jean-Luc Ponty's 80th birthday, and Jean-Luc Ponty was probably one of my top influences as far as music, instrumental music. 99% of everything he did was instrumental, yet he could tell a story without lyrics.
Yeah.
Without boring people. I mean, he was a master of texture and melody, in my opinion. Or he still is.
Well, I pull up your website. Let me scroll back up here a little bit. Look at these achievements. The Reader Pulitzer.
Well, that's Amanda Lehman. In 2021, she placed as far as a female vocalist in the Prog Reader poll.
Amazing. Now,
and Amanda sang on our most recent CD. She guested on one of the songs called "The Wind," which we're really proud and grateful of.
Well, I'm looking at these covers, and I'm looking at the cover of TOS4. Now, the first time I saw this, while I was creating the show link, creating the thumbnail for today's interview and everything, I was looking at it. I really dialed in on it. It's a very interesting concept. And even though some prog rock purists might think otherwise, doesn't matter. This is my show. I say what I want. And I respect what they said, but still my show. It has a real strong, the cover of Temple of Switches 4 has a real strong Rush vibe.
Yeah, I've heard people say that they looked at it and thought it was a metal album, which I thought was interesting.
Cool. Well, it's all up to personal interpretation. And
the cover is definitely up for, I've heard 6 different interpretations of it. And I had 3 ideas for it when I made the cover. One of them is, if you look at the back cover, I don't think there's an image available. It's on the CD, but if you look at the back cover, it's actually supposed to be a CRT, or an old style computer screen, and there's the face of the skeleton is staring at the screen, and the screen is giving him instructions. It's kind of a hit on the tech sector, but there's definitely a meaning. There's the 3 skeletons sitting down that are conforming, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And then there's the 4th one walking away, who the idea is that he's choosing freedom. So there's definite meaning behind it. And then a few other meanings have cropped up too. I guess different people can pull different meanings out of it.
Well, maybe I've just been watching a lot of maybe I've been watching too many behind the scenes footage of like Rush's Snake and Arrows concert or Clockwork Angels tour. Maybe I just have Rush on the brain. But
my brother is a huge Rush fan.
Could be. But it's just powerful. Then when I was going this is oh, Michelle. Thank you for sharing the meaning of the cover. A good message. Choose freedom. I like the
Thank you,
way
Nick.
you think, Michelle. Very good. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. For anybody who watches this on the replay, you are watching Hanging with the Dreamer featuring your old buddy, your humble host, the Dreamer, and mostly featuring Mr. Tank Van Dool. Van Dool. That I just say Van Dool.
That's
Hmm.
correct.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I thought I was having a brain freeze for a second.
You corrected yourself midstream there.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing about the cover is it looks heavy. It looks heavy, but it should be because the music is heavy. The kind of one of the Temple of Switch's signature sounds is heavy, minor chords, dark sounding.
Well, Kevin is here.
Hey, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin, for being here. It's the first time I've ever seen you in my chat. My name's the Dreamer. I am the visionary creator between all things or behind all things that is related to the dreamer's life. And this is my show, Hanging with the Dreamer. How do you do? Thank you for being here today.
Kevin's a great guy. He's been another big supporter of the band. Yeah, I'm talking through one of his microphones right now.
God bless you, Kevin. Thank you. And Miss Nikki saying hi to Kevin. Kevin saying hi to Nikki.
Thank you guys for
Awesome.
showing up.
Awesome. Awesome. So right now, Kevin, I'm at templeswitches.com. I just wanted to show Tank's website, Temple of Switches, the wings of wind,
The Wings of Mind.
the wings of mine. I knew I'd mess up.
That's
Excuse
all right.
me.
That was the previous release to 4. That came out in November of 2020. And progrock.com picked it up and made it album or featured artist of the month for December of 2020, which kind of lit a flame under the band. And we just immediately started writing material for 4, kind of because the way that The Wings of Mind was received. It was exciting.
The wings of mine. You know what? I'm absolutely entranced with this cover.
That was a photo. I took that picture out in our garage. I actually staged that. It was going to be released under a different band name. There's kind of a long story behind that, but half of the material on that album was material that was written back in 1989 under a band called Mary Cloud. And that was David and Dale and I. And I almost released The Wings of Mind under that band name, Mary Cloud. In fact, if you in the original photo session for that there were letters that said Mary Cloud above the mask that's in the middle of it, but I ended up cropping that out and doing it under the Temple of Switch's name instead.
That's amazing.
It was a fun album to put together. I'm proud of that one. It's a little heavier than 4, I think.
That's amazing. You know, the layout. Oh, I, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, I got the skeleton involved. The skeleton on the cover that's walking away is actually a life-size skeleton.
Awesome. Awesome. Ooh. Somehow I missed this one. What's the story of this release right here?
That's Helium Parade. That was our second CD. And actually, when I did that, it was kind of a solo effort after the first band kind of dissolved. I had a bunch of pieces of music that I wanted to put together. So I did Helium Parade and kind of intended that to be the last Temple of Switches album. I was going to hang up Temple of Switches after that CD, but ended up continuing because of the success of the following album, The Wings of Mind. But Helium Parade, my wife took that picture that's on the cover. It's actually embers in a campfire. It's a time exposure of embers in a campfire.
Amazing. There's just no limit to creation.
Yeah, creativity is great. That's the thing about music. You can tie visual and audio together.
How did you meet Amanda Lehman?
Oh, well, that's an interesting story because I had this song called The Wind and I had lyrics written for it. And I wanted a female singer for that song because of the subject matter. You know, it was necessary and to get it in the right key. It was in the upper register. And I had my mind set on a female singer. And a bunch of friends of mine from progrock.com chat room had given me a list of maybe 13 different female artists. So I started going through all of them and exploring them and contacting some of them. And I happened to be listening to a show called Check It Out on a Friday, Peter Prog's show. It's on progrock.com at 11 a.m. Pacific on Fridays. But anyway, I was listening to it and he said, by the way, next week, I'm going to have Amanda Lehman in the chat room, and we're going to be talking about her new album, Innocence and Illusion. And he played a song called The Watcher from Innocence and Illusion. And it just floored me. And her voice was exactly what I was looking for The Wind. So I was really super excited. So I made sure to tune into his show the following week. And Amanda was in the chat room. And I private messaged her and asked her if she is ever interested in doing collaborations. And she said, go ahead and send her the song, but that she was on tour with Steve Hackett at the time, and she wouldn't be able to do anything until I think it was October. I think actually it was November. I contacted her in September, and she said she would be busy until November. So anyway, in the interim, all this time passed in between, and I thought, well, it's too good to be true. You know, I bet she's not going to want to do it. And she ended up replying and said that she really liked the song and to contact her again in late October, which I did. And thankfully, she signed up to do it. And I sent her the tracks and the lyrics, and she did an incredible job on it. She had a lot of her own input, like there's like a 12-part harmony bridge that she did in there that came out just gorgeous. And she emphasized the chorus, which is a really important, powerful chorus meaning wise. She just threw her soul into it. I mean, you can hear the emotion in her voice, and I couldn't have been more pleased with how that came out, and I'm super grateful for that.
Wow. You actually contacted her while she was in the middle of a Steve Hackett tour.
Yeah. Well, she happened to be, she had just released her album, Innocence and Illusion. So she was kind of doing the circuit promoting that.
Yeah.
So that's why she was on Peter's show and in the chat room.
I love Steve Hackett.
Oh, I do too. I loved Genesis when Steve Hackett was in the band, was such a sophisticated band. And his solo stuff, I mean, there's all of it's great. He's really excellent guitarist and musician. And Amanda does a great job with him on tour. There's a lot of videos with her singing and performing, playing guitar with him on stage.
Sea of Tranquility.
Yeah, we got a few reviews from Sea of Tranquility. A few good reviews. Happy about that.
Awesome. That's a blessing. Absolutely amazing. Prog sensor. That's great. That's great.
There's one of Nikki's reviews.
Nikki, you're amazing.
Nikki has a show the Tuesday before Bandcamp Friday every month, where she calls Nikki's Niches, and she reviews albums. She's got really eclectic taste and really does a deep dive into new bands and new music. And so she does reviews of each of the bands, like a short review, and then plays the music on her show. And that's, I think that's 8 a.m. Pacific, the Tuesday before Bandcamp Friday. Maybe Nikki can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Let's see. Whoa. Thank
This
you,
coming
guys.
Tuesday. Yeah, so this coming Tuesday will be her show on progrock.com.
This segment this will be the Chuck Simon show.
Yeah, it's part of Chuck Simon's show.
Amazing, Nikki. That, coming from a producer, from a visionary creator viewpoint, what you're doing, I really feel is groundbreaking. And I'd love to have you on my show, because I would love to hear what you have to say.
That would be a great show.
I would really love to have you on my show, Nikki, if you feel that it's right for you. I'd really love to have you on my show, because you're very groundbreaking. In a short time after hearing it, I become a big fan of Temple of Switches and the music of Tenk Van Dool. Thoughtful and provocative, laden both with feeling and complexity. Eric Vedder, drummer from, am I reading this right?
Sproing. Sproing is an excellent avant-garde band that similar to Eric Dolphy or Frank Zappa, really off the wall, very cool, eclectic band. And I was really moved that he actually listened to our music and liked it. That was an honor, because I like their music as well. I'm a fan of Sproing.
I like to think of it as Chuck. It's on Nikki's show. Awesome. I'm so glad you're here, Nikki. And yes, absolutely, we can discuss that. That would be phenomenal. Discuss it sometime. That's not why I'm here today. And that's what makes your presence in my chat even more pleasurable and even more respectable and even more inspirational. Thank you for being here today, Nikki. I love that. That's great.
Perfect for Halloween.
That's great. Now, that must be the inside cover.
Yeah, the CD comes with a lyric sheet, and that's the lyric sheet.
Oh, for 4?
Yeah, for 4. Temple of Switches 4, the CD. There's 2 versions of the CD available. One is the English version that comes with the lyric sheet, and there's also a Japanese. A friend of mine, Tatsuro, translated all the cover liner notes into Japanese, and that's available as well. There's a limited edition run of those.
And Japanese version.
Yeah, I've actually been surprised how many people picked up the Japanese version. A lot of people really wanted that one.
Here, I'm glad you said that, Tank, because Kevin, may I please ask you why? What about the Japanese version appeals to you? Shout
Kevin was
out.
Kevin was instrumental in lining up that Japanese version. He's friends with Tatsuro, and he kind of hooked us up and egged Tatsuro on to do that, which he was gracious enough to do.
No, I'd love to have it myself. Be
I can
part of
send
my
you one.
be part of my morning meditation time. I'm
That's the
sorry, Tank. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I can send you one if you like of the Japanese cover. I'll be
Well,
happy to
thank
do
you.
that.
Thank you. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. The cover art and the translation. I'm looking forward to it now more than ever. I asked him once, and Tatsumu
Yeah,
jumped on it.
Tatsuro does translations for a lot of different albums for many different bands. Jethro Tull, Pat Metheny, Amanda Lehman. I mean, you name it.
Amazing.
Tatsuro has done translations from English to Japanese.
Absolutely amazing. So let's dig into the website just a little further. I love that cover. That's awesome. A Friday Night Progressive tribute to the late Dale Weiser. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Dale
Yeah,
Weiser.
Dale was a great bass player. The way he played was a lot like John Entwistle. He had a really aggressive way of playing bass, and he was humble, and he had a great sense of humor and just an incredibly powerful bass player. He used to get people coming up to him all the time telling him, "My God, you are great," and he would just laugh.
That's amazing.
He would do his Dudley Do-Right imitation, and he would say, "I know," kiddingly.
I know. Well, I was listening, as you can see, I was listening to part. I love this intro.
So it's actually a 2-hour show. This is Friday Night Progressive. And Ron, at one point in this show, he played a few of our songs that Dale had played on.
And that's him playing, huh?
No, this is Ron's introduction song to his show, Friday Night Progressive, which is on every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. I love that bass.
That was a Guild. Dale spray painted that pattern on it. Guild makes a great bass guitar.
Yeah. Visions Nocturnes.
That was a show that they played. Francis Aru in France played a couple songs with Amanda Lehman singing, and one of them was our Temple of Switches song that she sang on. So we were pretty honored about that.
That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So we've taken a look. We've taken a look at the website a little bit, everybody. So who would you say is your biggest music inspiration?
That's changed so many times over the years. I mean, at one point, of course, Led Zeppelin, yes, Alice Cooper, bands that my dad used to listen to, the Guess Who, Chicago, all influenced. Led Zeppelin was one of the biggies. Rush less so, but there's definitely a Rush influence there. But later on in the years, especially after I quit playing guitar, I started getting more into jazz, which is pretty much all I listen to now. And my favorite guitarist is John Abercrombie. But anything jazz, not so much traditional jazz or Dixie and that sort of thing. I mean, jazz is such a huge genre, but I like the things that like the ECM label is putting out, mellower jazz, and I guess you call it contemporary jazz, post bop. I love Miles Davis and Wayne Shorter, Chick Corea, Kurt Rosenwinkel, Mulgrew Miller. There's so many influences. They span a lot of different genres. I had a period where I was really into heavy metal, a short period, like in the early to mid '80s. Really got into metal with Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and the bands that used to do the festivals back then. Riot, Crocus, Yngwie Malmsteen. But that was kind of short lived. That was like a flash grenade. It happened quickly and then died quickly for me.
Kevin, busy with all the artists he translates for, and he stopped just to do it for Temple of Switches. He's amazing.
Yeah, I was very grateful for that. Yeah, Tatsuro is a great guy. Very intelligent person.
Exactly. Michelle says exactly. Wow. How inspirational to actually be so well known, to drop whatever they're doing. And chances are, it's probably pretty epic just to work with you.
Well, we're not very well known, and for me, it's just a hobby. Thankfully,
that is beautiful.
Yeah, it's something I enjoy doing. It's not work for me at all.
When little things like that happen in life, it's Amanda Lehman. It's humbling, because
it sure is. It makes the work worthwhile, that's for sure.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Boy. Yeah, I have seen some things happen from my show I did not expect. And I was just shaking my head going, but I'm just your average, ordinary, everyday dude, And I'm blown away by it. And every day I get up and meditate and have my coffee and watch some live concerts. Maybe Mono Wink this morning, live from Mira Luna. Live from the crypt. That was cool. And yeah, I think about all the kind things that people have said to me and said about my show. I am very fortunate, and I'm very lucky, and I'm very privileged, I'm very honored, and I'm very blessed not to have any haters so far. And if I do, they're not saying nothing. So
yeah, haters hate. They're all out there. It's actually a topic of Human Zoo, in fact.
That's my next one, Human Zoo. I was going to ask you because I just re-listened to that this morning.
Yeah, that's the whole premise behind Human Zoo is the evolution of people being unkind to each other, and now there's this huge platform online where people can just unleash it on each other and it happens all the time. It's happened internally within our own band, which is was kind of the inspiration for that. And it affects everybody's life. And like Keith Emerson, later in life, when he started having problems with his wrist and couldn't play right, and people were criticizing him brutally online, and they say that it actually contributed to his suicide. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was written into the last verse on Human Zoo. It's actually about Keith Emerson.
ELP, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer.
Yep, definitely another huge influential band for us.
Amazing. Life is too short.
I totally agree. Life is too short for the negative vibes.
And
that's why people like your show, I think, because you're always positive and spiritual, and that's a good thing.
I want somebody to smile. I want somebody to, my wish, my hold, my hope, my prayer is for somebody to be able to watch one of my shows and go, wow. Have a light click on, like what needs to happen for me every day. Have a light click on, light of encouragement, maybe a light of positive energy, a light of hope, a light of love.
Yeah, especially in these dark times. It seems like instead of
Terrible.
people learning from this disaster, they're just getting angrier and lashing out, which is odd to me. You would think it would have the opposite effect.
I mean, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to talk about that at another time. But if you ever would like, but I'll tell you, really, Temple of Switches 4 so far, what I've heard and what I've seen on the Temple of Switches YouTube channel, absolutely brilliant.
Wow.
And when I watched the Vortex video and you came out slinging that Gibson ES 1275, I was just
the model number even.
Well, yeah, I love those. I've always wanted one of those, but I could never be able to acquire one. I love those guitars.
It's like wearing a picnic table around your neck.
Oh, sure.
No, it's funny, the story behind that, because back in 2012, when I first started playing again, I really wanted the double neck because the Vortex was written on a 12-string electric, and I needed the 12 and the 6-string.
That's amazing.
And my wife was really supportive of me getting back into music, thankfully. And I went on eBay, and there was one for a killer price on eBay. So I called her in the room. I said, look at this. Look at how little they want for it. And she said, go ahead and get it. And I was like completely shocked. And I clicked that button before she could change her mind.
Oh, yeah.
And waiting for that thing to come in the mail was like 10 times the excitement as Christmas morning, waiting for the UPS truck to drive up. Very exciting.
Well, I'll be honest, the first time I saw you holding that, when I first saw the Vortex video, immediately Song Remains the Same popped up in my head.
That guitar's actually been modified. I added an extra switch to it.
Like a Sustainiac?
It just, the way those things are wired, there's only two switches. There's a switch to select between the two necks, and there's a switch that will select between the bridge or the neck pickup. And I wanted to be able to switch between the bridge and the neck pickup independently between the two necks, which you couldn't do in the stock Gibson. So I added a switch so I can, for instance, have the 12-string sets to the neck pickup and the 6th string set to the bridge pickup, and all I have to do is select between the necks, and it's already set. Because when you're playing in a live situation and you have to switch between playing rhythm on the upper neck and then the lead on the lower neck, you don't have a lot of time to be changing all these settings. So that particular guitar has been modified.
Well, I do have a couple of things to share with you at another time. But for today, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to call it. I just want to thank Tenk Van Dool for coming and hanging with the Dreamer today. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. I definitely feel a kindred spirit, and I definitely think that I'm very, very thankful for knowing you. And
Likewise.
thank you. And please, everybody, subscribe to the Dreamer's Life, smash that bell, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, also my personal page, Will Dunham, my show like page at Hanging with Dreamers. Stay notified, because I have even though I've made some drastic changes to my life as of late, need to happen. I am still very much here, and I have every intention on carrying out the things that I have written down, that are ideas I have that are scheduled for the rest of the year. So please subscribe, smash that bell. Please, please, please. Everybody who is here in the chat, everybody that will be watching this on the replay, support Tenk Van Dool, support Temple of Switches, get into the vortex with the Dreamer, and enjoy everything that Temple of Switches, Tenk Van Dool have to offer. This is only the beginning of a very beautiful, beautiful journey. A journey of music, a journey of life, a journey of spirit, and a journey of faith. Yes, and I will share so folks can check it out after the fact. Oh, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Oh, Nikki. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Kevin. Sorry I was late, but enjoyed what I was here for. Thank you for being here, Kevin.
I'm glad Kevin and Nikki could make it. They're good friends.
Well, Nikki, hit me up on Facebook or email me at hangingwiththedreamer@gmail.com, and let's talk. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Kevin. Ooh, wait a minute. Tank rules. Yeah, I agree, Kevin. I totally agree. And I just want you to know, Tank, before we end, that my door is always open for you to come back.
That sounds great.
Maybe for a live studio performance.
That not out of the question.
And also, if you don't just want to hang, meet up and talk about all things guitar related, spiritual related, vision related, that type of thing.
That sounds good, Will.
Right on. And likewise.
Thank you.
The mic sounds good, Kevin. Kevin says the mic sounds good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. I owe that to Kevin.
Nikki, Kevin, thank you for being here today. And if you would like to check out my upcoming interviews, check out The Dreamer's Life on YouTube.
I have it bookmarked.
Oh, thank you.
I've watched a few of them. I really liked your interview with Diane Potter. I love her.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm honored. I'm just your average everyday dude, just trying to, hoping, praying. Lovely interview, Will and Tank. Even though I've been following Tank's career for a while now, I learned some new things. Wow,
That's
really,
good.
Nikki? Awesome. Awesome. Well, see, awesome. That's why I'm here, Nikki. See
All right.
you all there. Yeah, yeah. And Diane is a fun interview. I watched that one too.
Yeah, Diane's got a great energy about her. No wonder her music is so good. Her personality comes through in her music. The Octarine Sky album in particular, I really love. And her new EP.
Simon Phillips on drums.
Yeah, yep. And her new EP, Weighted Keys, is also excellent.
I'm trying to think if I have Weighted Keys. I have Octarine Sky. I have some music of Diane. I love Diane. She's
Diane plays one of Nikki's late husband's composition on Weighted Keys called Catherine.
Oh, I love that song.
Oh,
I've heard it.
Excellent.
Yeah, Diane's amazing. Well, Tank, and I hope she comes back as well.
I hope so too. I'm sure she will. Seems like she's pretty prolific. And I think there's another Octarine Sky album in the works too, if I'm not mistaken. And I hope that's true.
Simon Phillips has been popping up on social media a lot lately. So, and I've said hi. Yeah, I've said hi a few times.
Oh, good. I know he plays in Ventura from time to time, which isn't too far from me. It's not an out of the question trip to go see him. I wish Diane would come out here and tour. Wouldn't that be great?
I'd love to see her. Oh, yeah. I already told her after the prog camp. I told her, I said, Diane, I saw your pictures. I wish I was there.
Me too.
She goes, next year you will be. And I'm like, I hope so.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I hope we'll both be there. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
That'd be cool. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tank. Support everything Tank's got going on. You've been watching Hang with the Dreamer featuring your host, The Dreamer. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Kevin, Diane, and all the Dreamers. They'll be watching this on the replay. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Have a great day.
Stay strong and stay true. Have a great day, everybody. An all-new episode of Hanging with the Dreamer every Monday at 12 noon. Available wherever you stream.